Welcome to weekly Forex forecast from Forex Trading Wizard Academy. This is Forex Wizard, your trading coach. I will be doing a complete multi-time frame analysis of all the hottest currency pairs, cryptocurrencies and indices that we will be looking to trade next week. Now the list is a bit longer as usual, but don't worry, I will put a timestamp in the description area. But I'll suggest you to watch all of them. As you have seen in my previous weekly Forex forecast, most of the pairs did exactly according to the analysis. Now this upcoming week is incredible. As you know that there is NFP coming and there will be a new year, new monthly, weekly and daily opening. The market will be extremely volatile. So with that in mind, let's begin this week's weekly Forex forecast. Okay guys, so we'll be starting with first of all DXY. Now DXY will give us a clear idea of all the USD pairs. So we'll be beginning with DXY. Now as you have seen in my previous weekly Forex forecast, this is the weekly chart. And what do you see that there is a weekly bearish candle. And this is what exactly expected in my previous weekly Forex forecast, that the price is likely to go up a little bit and then to drop. I'll link above this video so that you can watch that if you haven't watched it, to have a clear idea what happened in the past week. So let's begin now. First of all, we'll be looking at like all our analysis higher time frame, and then slowly we'll jump on to lower time frame to find where we can see the trading opportunity. Monthly perspective, first of all, on DXY. Now as you know that there is a monthly, weekly close, so both time frame are extremely important in this weekly Forex forecast. Now this is the monthly closed candle on DXY. Now what you have seen that after the previous weekly giant bearish engulf, for this month the price created another bearish candle. Now this bearish candle is extremely bearish. As you can see, after this kind of long bearish candle, when you see a full body red, smaller, narrower but bearish candle, it's a sign of continuation. What you could see that the next one also coming back down. So this month also DXY looks like that it is highly bearish. Then how it might move, what I think that initially in this first week, initially we might see a little bit of uprise and then we could see a drop on DXY. Now this is the monthly candle. What I think that in the first move we can expect DXY at least to come back to this support, which is there is a 20 EMA on the monthly, and also there is a monthly support, or even you could see a break of this support, but primarily we can expect to drop in this level. Now if we look at weekly perspective, what we see that DXY on the weekly time frame also highly bearish. Now if we see this market structure and price section on the weekly perspective, we see there is a clear head and shoulder here on DXY and then has broken down, and every week the price was creating series of lower high and lower low. In the past 3 weeks, what we see, nice looking bearish price section, there is a doji followed by a narrower candle, and previous weekly Forex forecast, this is what exactly expected, the price to go up a little bit, gap liquidity and then to drop, and the price did exactly as it is. Now where we can expect next move, what I think that this price is likely to continue to drop, and it could be that the price just tested the previous weekly low and then continuation to the downside. Now if we look at the daily perspective, what do you see that on the daily, clearly there is a pattern here on the daily perspective. Here you can see there is a drop and then a rise and then a drop, rise. So basically a reversal pattern in this downtrending market. If we separate this reversal pattern, what we see that it created in fact a double top or a consolidation pattern as the broken down. What we can expect the price to test the previous neckline, previous support zone here, which is turning resistance, and then to continue to drop. Now as you have seen, we already have drawn a line on the weekly perspective where this is the previous support zone, which is turning resistant exactly with the neckline. Now if we adjust a little bit on the weekly perspective, daily perspective, we see that this is the level that we can expect in the new trading week, the price to go ahead and test this and then to drop at least to this level. So DXY initially a little bit of a strengthening and then finally to drop. Now if we look at intraday perspective, this is where we see that DXY in fact is giving us a significant bearish setup. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity on DXY along this zone, giving us suitable bearish price action after weekly opening, if we see any kind of price action along this zone for suitable entry opportunity, we'll consider going short on DXY with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at AUDNZD. Looking at the monthly perspective on AUDNZD. Now this is the AUDNZD chart. As you can see, monthly back-to-back 3 months, we have seen a very strong drop on AUDNZD, except this current month. Initially there was a drop and then finally has gone up, closed as a pin bar or a doji. Now this is the monthly candle. What we can see this month, what I think that the price either breaking this high monthly or without breaking this high, we could see initially a drop. The price action is still bearish on AUDNZD. So with that in mind, what we can expect this month also to be bearish. Now if we look at the weekly perspective on AUDNZD, we see that there is a previous weekly bearish bullish candle from this support and created a narrow doji. Though it is a continuation pattern only with that respect, but still the price action higher time frame is bearish. We could see another wave of drop to test this level. This is the weekly chart. What I think that the price initially this week we might see from this resistance to this support coming back down and grabbing liquidity from this doji zone. If we look at daily perspective, we see that in fact the price action, the way it has created is, if you can see, there is a move and then bulls tried to push that price high, but it didn't break this resistance level on the monthly. This is the daily chart, and what I think that AUDNZD, highly likely that this price will come back to this previous resistance zone on the daily, which is turning support and which is aligning with this level. What I think that on the lower time frame, if we go to the lower time frame, AUDNZD is highly likely that this price will go ahead and test this zone, this resistance, and then to come back to this level of support or even lower than this to test this previous resistance here, which is turning support here. So this is what we will be doing. As soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity on AUDNZD for this move to the downside, we will be consider going short on AUDNZD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Let's look at GBPJPY. Now if we look at first of all monthly perspective on GBPJPY, what we see that GBPJPY on the monthly perspective is bearish. Now as you can see, back to back 2 months bearish candle. Previous month, the one that just closed, we see that a full body red candle, which is a highly bearish candle, and we can expect this price to continue to drop. As you can see, the price still didn't reach this monthly strong level of support, and we can expect now GBPJPY even come back to this level of support again to test this zone, then where we can expect GBPJPY to continue to drop. Now as you can see, after this monthly close, what we could see initially a drop and then going up to test this level and then again rejection. So this could be the wave for GBPJPY. Now looking at the weekly, what we see that on the weekly time frame, there is a strong impulse on GBPJPY with this liquidity grab here, a big impulse followed by a bearish engulfer. The previous week we have seen a narrow doji. Now with that candle, there are two probability now for us to see on GBPJPY is to respect this body of this weekly candle on GBPJPY and then to continue to drop. There is another probability is for the price to go ahead and test this upper week of this weekly candle. So which one is likely to happen? Let's jump on to daily time frame to see how the price action is forming. Now on the daily perspective, as you can see, GBPJPY now almost below all this current level of support. Now what I think that, as you can see, there is a long daily week here. If we draw a level on this one, what I think that highly likely to happen on GBPJPY is, as this is a very important level of resistance here with this top part of this doji, which is turning support here. Initially we could see a drop on GBPJPY and then to rise to this level where there is a weakness candle on the daily and long wick green candle, and from this zone we could see GBPJPY is coming back down. Now as this is a long-term bearish market, now we will be only considering going short on GBPJPY, but if we draw all this level here and zone, Then what we see that on the lower time frame, we see GBPJPY already created a move, strong move. Now still it is locally bearish. Now what we will be waiting for, in fact, on GBPJPY to see how the price is reacting along this zone. If we see a very strong rejection, a very strong bullish price action along this zone, we may consider going long based on how the price action is forming to this level. Otherwise, we will remain observant fully for the price to come back here and to test this zone. And as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on GBPJPY, we'll be considering going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at AUDUSD. Looking at monthly time frame to see. Now AUDUSD on the monthly time frame, as you can see, has formed a doji. This is what exactly expected in my all analysis, as you have seen. Now this is monthly price action. As you can see, there is a monthly bullish candle followed by a narrow doji on the monthly perspective. Now a strong bullish engulfer followed by a doji, which is in fact a bullish price action. Highly likely that AUDUSD this month also after retracement will continue to rise. So looking at weekly perspective, we see that this is also a long bullish price action where we can expect now the price to continue to rise again. You see there is a long doji on the weekly. Highly likely that the price will test the high of this weekly doji as a support, and from this level we can expect AUDUSD to continue to rise. And now as you can see in the previous weekly forex forecast, this is what exactly expected on AUDUSD, and the price did exactly. Now if we look at daily perspective, what do we see that on the daily also the price action is highly bullish. There is a strong drop here. This is basically a liquidity grab on the daily consolidation and expansion. Grab a lot of liquidity and then has broken to the upside. Now this is the level that we are expecting this week to test. Now if you closely look at also, there is a daily, you can see a bullish engulfer or middleman that has enough liquidity in it, followed by another bullish candle. Now what we can expect, you can see this is the neckline of this pattern here, a long doji on the bearish doji. You can see here this is the resistance exactly we are expecting to test as support and then to continue to rise. Now if we look at intraday perspective, we see the same level. There is a rejection, a bullish engulfer last session, almost 2 sessions earlier of this weekly close, followed by a doji, which is a continuation pattern. What I think that, as you see that there is a 20 EMA on the intraday or 4-hour time frame. This is the zone that I will be actively watching for price action for potential bullish setup on AUDUSD. As soon as we will find suitable entry, we'll consider going long on AUDUSD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at CADCHF. Looking at monthly time frame on CADCHF, what you see that on the monthly perspective on CADCHF, this is in fact still bearish market. Previous months, what you have seen, a very long bearish engulfer that has a strong liquidity at the top, and also there's a wick at the bottom, which is a typical bearish engulfer, has broken out of this monthly head and shoulder with a long bearish engulfer, followed by this month we see also a bearish candle. Now what we can expect on this price on a CADCHF, the price to continue to drop. Now what we could see initially a little bit of retracement, or without retracement we could see another wave of drop on CADCHF. Looking at the weekly, the price action on the weekly also highly bearish. We see that there is a strong drop, narrow correction, another drop, again narrow correction. Now it is in another impulsive phase on the weekly time frame. Now this one also looks like there is a bearish candle. If we look at the daily perspective, this is where I see that the price action highly likely to be bearish, and we may see that the price is following this channel on the daily perspective on CADCHF. And what I think that the price highly likely that will test this support zone on the daily. This is the bottom of this doji, which is turning resistance here. And what I think that in the new trading week, the price to go ahead and test this level, and from this zone we could see a drop. Now if we look at intraday perspective on CADCHF, this is the zone that I will be waiting for the price to go ahead and test this level. As soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on CADCHF, we will be going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at CHFJPY. Looking at the monthly time frame on CHFJPY, on the monthly time frame, we see that this is in fact also now bearish market. After the previous monthly narrow doji from this trend line, monthly trend line, we see that CHFJPY has a strong drop. Now this current month we see a long candle which in fact also has penetrated this monthly resistance little bit and then has broken down and closed below all this monthly level of support, giving us for potential another drop to the downside on CHFJPY. We can expect another move to the downside on this one, as well as what is falling is likely to fall. That's the law of trading. And we see that CHFJPY, in fact, it is a very overextended market. On the monthly, you can see this is a higher time frame. We might see a major change of trend to come back down to test this green candle that has not been tested yet. If we look at weekly time frame on CHFJPY, we see that typical bearish price action. There is a long consolidation here, and in that consolidation, what we see that CHFJPY created series of lower high, giving us a high probability for drop. Now if you look at closely the previous 2 weeks price action, there is a bearish engulfer. See, there is a long wick here, followed by a narrow doji, which is in fact another bearish price action. Now with that bearish doji and bearish engulfer, what we can expect CHFJPY to drop. Now there is 2 probability now on this one as well, either to open with a gap and then to drop. Another one is for the price to go ahead and test the high long wick of this weekly candle and then to drop from this zone. So if we draw possible level where we can expect CHFJPY, this is the neckline of this reversal pattern. There is a probability for the price to test this level and then to drop or even drop from here. Now if we look at the daily perspective on CHFJPY like GBPJPY, what I think that highly likely the price might come initially a little bit down and then could go there, test this zone and then to continue to drop. Again, this is the daily chart. So with that in mind, if we look at intraday perspective, you see there is already a bearish price action. There is a strong drop here. Now based on how the price is forming along this zone, if we see that there is a smaller narrow correction along this zone, then we will be considering going short from this zone as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity on CHFJPY. On the other hand, if we see the price is showing a very strong bullish action and the price reach this zone, which is high probability for short setup, we'll consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at EURGBP, again monthly perspective. Now EURGBP on the monthly time frame, we see that this is the monthly closed candle, which is in fact a highly bullish candle. Now you can see it has grabbed liquidity from this back-to-back 3 monthly support, created a false breakout and then has gone up, closed as a bullish engulfer. After this kind of monthly close, we can expect another bullish move to the upside. Now what we could see, the price just respecting this high of this doji, and then initially we might see another wave of rise. So if we look at weekly time frame, we see that there is a weekly move. Every week the price was creating bullish candle. What I think that in the new trading week we might see testing this level and then going up again. There is another probability is to have a big drop, which is less likely to happen exactly to this level, which is the previous neckline, previous resistance turning support. And if we look at daily time frame, then how we can approach this market. If we see that the price has come even, this is the daily chart as you can see, which is forming a bullish price action. So there is no doubt every day the price is creating series of higher high and higher low. So there are 2 probability, as I mentioned on the weekly perspective, that the price to continue to this trend. Another probability is to be a range bound. As you can see, there is already a resistance here. You see this is the resistance, the price to maintain this resistance and the price to come back down again to test this neckline and then to go up. So what is likely to happen if we look at the intraday perspective? Based on how the price action is reacting to this level, we could find suitable entry opportunity. If we see that the price is in a sideway and then slowly creating strong bearish price action, then we will consider going short on GBP for this move to the downside. In that case, we might see that EURGBP is in a range bound and we might see the prices coming again to this level. There is another probability. If we see that EURGBP is maintaining a strong bullish price action from this level, giving us a strong bullish price action, then we'll consider going long on EURGBP with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at EURJPY monthly perspective. Now EURJPY, you can see that back-to-back 2 months strong bearish movement. This is the monthly candle, as you can see, which is closed, which is also bearish. What I think that EURJPY, after little retracement, we can expect another wave of drop, as back-to-back 2 months we have seen drop from this trend line, and we may expect it to drop a little further down, as what is dropping is likely to drop. Now if we look at the weekly time frame, we see that EURJPY is highly bearish. Now this is the previous weekly candle, bearish engulfer followed by a doji. It's a continuation pattern. Now what we can expect, like all the GPU pairs, we might see a gap opening, an immediate drop from here. Another probability is for the price to go ahead and test this long wick of the weekly time frame, this zone, especially this level, and then to drop. Now this is the neckline of this reversal pattern. Here we might see a test of this level, creating a lower high with the weekly doji, and then to continue to drop. Now if we look at daily perspective, we see this is the same thing as all the JPY pairs. We see back-to-back 2 days drop. What we can expect now, the price to go ahead and test, continue to drop, or go ahead and test this level and then to drop. So if we look at intraday perspective on EURJPY, this is the probability. Now we have to look at the real price action, how it is reacting. As you can see, every session this is a very strongly bearish price action. If we see the price is giving us suitable very strong bearish price action along this zone, especially if there is a bearish engulfer followed by a doji, if we see the price is respecting this very important level, then we'll consider going short from here on EURJPY to take this move. On the other hand, if we see EURJPY giving us suitable bullish price action, as this is a long-term bearish market, we will be waiting for EURJPY to test this level. As soon as we will see suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we'll consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at GBPUSD. Looking at monthly time frame on GBPUSD. Now GBPUSD on the monthly time frame, you can see that this is in fact a monthly doji. This is what exactly expected in all my analysis, that GBPUSD is likely to create a monthly doji. Now the price did exactly as it is. Now if you closely look at what we see, that GBPUSD after this monthly rejection from this monthly level of support, we have seen a very strong bounce to the upside on GBPUSD. With this narrow doji followed by a long bullish candle followed by a narrow doji on GBPUSD. Now what we can expect this current month, what I think that initially we could see an uprise, as this market is bullish. Highly likely the price will continue to rise initially, as with the weakening of DXY we might see strengthening on GBPUSD. Now if we draw the possible level of support where we can expect a bounce on the monthly, these are the two levels that we can expect GBPUSD to have initially a bounce and then to rise. Now if you look at the weekly perspective, we see that this is the price action on the weekly, which is also bullish. Now if we take out Fibonacci for this move on GBPUSD, we see that the price just at 38.2% Fibonacci level, minimum Fibonacci level, sign of strong trend, strong bullish trend. The last week of the month we see that there is a narrow doji, which in fact has a higher low created. What I think that GBPUSD maintaining this trend line on the weekly with this higher low, we could see that the price is testing this support and then going bullish. So with that in mind, looking at the daily, now daily perspective, this is what expected. As you can see, the price is respecting this newly created trend line. You can see this is the weekly support. Every day the price is creating series of higher low, along this level. What I think that in the new trading week, again the price to test this level or even create a false breakout and then to rise up. So if we look at the intraday perspective, we'll be waiting for GBPUSD to come back down here again to test this zone to give us any kind of bullish setup. As soon as we'll find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on GBPUSD, we'll consider going long with high probability trade setup with our students. Let's look at Euro AUD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have. Looking at first of all monthly perspective on Euro AUD, what we see that on the monthly, this whole month Euro AUD was strongly bullish. This is the monthly candle that has closed as a bullish candle, which has a half body in the middle and also half wick at the top, giving us a potential for another bullish candle. Now if we closely look at, we see that there is a nearest level of support here on Euro AUD on the monthly perspective. If you consider this trend line, we see that Euro AUD highly likely that on the monthly may come back down to test this level, and then we could see another bullish move on Euro AUD. Looking at the weekly time frame, we see that after this weekly bullish candle back to back 2 weeks significant drop. What I think that this week also Euro AUD might continue to drop to this level on the monthly, then from here we could see another bullish move. At the same time, we see there is a long doji on the weekly time frame, and this is the bottom of the doji support, and we could potentially see this week the price testing this previous support, which is turning resistance and then dropping from this level. Now if we look at the daily perspective on Euro AUD, what we see that on the daily time frame also the price action is bearish, and we see back to back quite a few days a strong liquidity grab. As you can see, this is the daily doji or pin bar that has in fact grabbed huge liquidity from this important zone and then created a bearish move. Now this is the last day of trading week, also created a bearish candle. Now let's look at intraday perspective to see how we can find trading opportunity. Now Euro AUD, if you closely look at, the price was coming along this channel, and in the middle there is a liquidity grab that we have seen on the daily, which is in fact highly bearish. Now from that level we see Euro AUD has dropped again, completing a head and shoulder and then drop also with this narrow doji. We see that long doji, the price tested this neckline of this head and shoulder, penetrated, closed back below, giving us a potential for further drop. That means that on the new trading week, probably along this zone where there is a 20 EMA and also crossing this last session's candle, creating a lower high from this level, we could potentially see that Euro AUD dropping to this previous resistance zone here, which is turning support, and from here we might see another bullish move. So this is the zone that we will be waiting for Euro AUD to give us a potential bearish setup. As soon as we will find that, we will consider going short on Euro AUD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at EURCAD, starting with monthly perspective. Now we see that on the monthly time frame, EURCAD, this is the monthly candle, which is in fact significantly bullish. Now after this kind of monthly candle, as you can see, back to back 2 months bullish candle, we can expect on the monthly perspective further rise. But what do you see that on the monthly, at the same time EURCAD is facing a monthly resistance zone with this monthly pin bar. So from there we might see deeper retracement on EURCAD. Looking at the weekly perspective, on the weekly we see that EURCAD, the last week, this is a bullish price action. In fact, you can see there is a very long bullish impulsive move to the upside, followed by narrow correction with a triangular pattern. Last week's candle that we see is in fact a bullish candle with this local time frame. You will see that there is a triangular pattern where it has broken to the downside, gap liquidity, closed as a bullish pin bar. After this kind of price action, we can expect primarily a push to the upside on EURCAD. If we look at the daily time frame, we see that EURCAD on the daily perspective as well highly bullish. We see that there is a liquidity grab from this level here on EURCAD. This leg on the daily is a completely a manipulation of this. There is a structure locally, you can see this is the local structure on EURCAD, and grab liquidity from here, close back above. So what we can expect in the new trading week is for the price to again to test this level on the lower time frame, and then from this previous resistance starting support we can expect a bullish move on EURCAD. Now if you look at intraday time frame on the 4 hour, we see the price already has broken to the upside with this impulse. Now the price is correcting. What you can expect, 1 or 2 candles to the downside on the new trading week, and as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on the retest of this previous resistance zone turning support, we will consider going long on EURCAD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at CADJPY monthly perspective. It is also strongly bearish market now. CADJPY, you can see that back-to-back 2 months drastic drop after this long strong bullish market. Now as you can see, the prices were on the monthly perspective, there is no significant level of support to stop this price. That means that in that move we at least can expect now CADJPY come back to this very important liquidity zone on the monthly perspective, where there is a monthly doji previous resistance turning support. That means that this month also we could see a further drop on CADJPY. Now looking at weekly, we see that after this weekly drop followed by back-to-back 2 dojis, so every week the price was creating series of lower high and lower low, typical downtrending market on CADJPY. Now back-to-back 2 weeks, past 3 weeks, we see that CADJPY in fact is very strongly bearish. This is the last week's candle, we see that, which is in fact a narrow doji on CADJPY after the previous weekly middleman. This week's the price has created a bearish doji. Now what we can expect in this new trading week, what I think that like all the JPY pairs, either to open with a gap and then to drop, or the price to go ahead and test the higher week, like the upper week of this long weekly doji, and to create a lower high along this zone and then to continue to drop. Now if we look at daily perspective, we see that in fact CADJPY on the daily time frame is showing, like so far it's bearish. As you can see, after this daily drop followed by this correction, it is in another impulsive phase. So what we can expect in the new trading week, this is the intraday time frame. As you can see, the price already has created a strong bearish pattern on this one. Now as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity, if we see a slow retracement along this zone, especially along this bearish engulfer in the first day or first session along this zone, suitable entry for bearish setup, we will consider going short on CADJPY. On the other hand, we will wait for CADJPY to go ahead and test this level, and along this zone, if we see CADJPY giving us suitable entry opportunity to take this move to the downside with a high probability trade setup with our students. Okay, so let's look at GBPAUD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity currently we have. Now looking at first of all monthly perspective, we see that in GBPAUD on the monthly time frame, it is still bullish. Now starting from here, you see that there is a monthly strong rejection from this very low price, created this impulse followed by now back-to-back 2 months doji. Now if we compare the bullish price action with this bearish price action, we see that the price action is still bullish. Now the previous monthly candle, which is the bearish candle, which is still creating a bullish pattern, this price action on the monthly couldn't break the previous monthly low, created a higher low and higher high, which is in fact a retracement of this move to the downside. Now on the monthly close, we can expect after later retracement to have another impulsive move to the upside. If we look at the weekly time frame, we see that GBPAUD on the weekly time frame is back-to-back 2 weeks drop. Now this week, what I think that initially we might see a drop on the weekly perspective and then to create a bullish move. Now if we look at daily perspective on GBPAUD, we see that on the daily time frame it is showing still bearish price action. So what I think that on GBPAUD, as you can see, there is in fact a trend line is being respected on GBPAUD for long term. If we draw this trend line, what we see that GBPAUD is respecting this previous support zone. What I think that in the new trading week, GBPAUD are highly likely to drop back to this level. From this support, we can expect another impulsive move to the upside. If we look at intraday perspective, what we will be waiting as on the lower time frame, we still see that GBPAUD is in a bearish move, and this local channel, we see there is a liquidity gap on the intraday perspective. So we can expect on GBPAUD to drop further to this level before creating any move to the upside. As local channel is bearish, as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone for short term bearish move, we'll consider going short on GBPAUD to take this move to the downside. And once we will see GBPAUD along this monthly level of support, as soon as we will find strong bullish reversal pattern, we'll consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at GBPCAD, starting with monthly perspective on GBPCAD. Now on the monthly time frame, we see that GBPCAD is still bullish. Now we see that there is a back-to-back quite a few months strong bullish move on GBPCAD. Now this is the closed candle on the monthly, which is in fact typically bullish candle, which is a shooting star. But at the same time, if you closely look at, it's a very strong bullish candle. As soon as the market opened here on the monthly, we have seen that there is no effort from the sellers. Instead, it created a strong bullish move. Now what we can expect in the new trading week, the price to test this previous resistance, which is starting support here, or even after a little deeper down, we can expect bullish move, and we will be always in the bull side. Now if you look at the weekly perspective on GBPCAD, this is the weekly time frame, and we see that there is in fact a very strong impulsive move followed by this correction. Let's take our Fibonacci to see in fact how much retracement it has made. We see that the price penetrated to this 38.2% Fibonacci level and then created this pin bar. Now this is the weekly pin bar, but I think that either opening with a gap here or after coming back down with a deeper retracement, we can expect GBPCAD to give us bullish move. If we look at the daily time frame, we see that this price action, in fact, it's forming a reversal pattern here on the daily, a double bottom in this important level. What we can expect on GBPCAD? Well, I think that highly likely the price will respect this trend line and the price will move along this trend line. After coming back down on the lower time frame to the downside, we could see that GBPCAD again creating a bullish move. On the intraday perspective, we see there has been already an impulse. What I think that the price might come back down further to this level, and from this zone we can expect a bullish move on GBPCAD. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone for this bullish move to the upside, we will consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at NZDCAD to see in fact how the price action is doing. Now NZDCAD, looking at monthly perspective, we see that like the GBPCAD, NZDCAD also strongly bullish. Now back to back 3 months, we have seen a very long bullish price action on NZDCAD. This is the monthly candle, which is half wick, half body, giving us further probability for rising in this month as well. If we look at the weekly, like the GBPCAD and NZDCAD, a little bit stronger, we can see that the price created this the weekly candle, which is in fact a bullish candle. After this very strong bullish impulse, narrow correction, it has started another bullish move. This is narrow candle, which is in fact a deceleration from the seller's activity, the buyers taking control for another push to the upside. If we look at daily perspective, we see that NZDCAD in fact created this impulse. Now we can expect this price to come back to this previous resistance, which is turning support. We could see that on the daily perspective, even breaking this low, grabbing enough liquidity and then pushing to the upside. If we look at intraday perspective on NZDCAD, we see that in fact the price action back to back 2 dojis has been formed on NZDCAD. Now with that back-to-back 2 dojis, we see the price bouncing from this very important level. But I think that in the new trading week, we initially could see a break, highly likely to grab liquidity and then to continue to go up. So with that in mind, as soon as we'll see the price has given us a suitable bullish entry opportunity, we'll consider going long on NZDCAD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Okay, now let's look at NZDUSD. Again, looking at monthly perspective to see the bigger picture. Now NZDUSD, like all the USD pairs, has created a doji on the monthly perspective, which is in fact still bullish. In the first couple of weeks, we could see NZDUSD showing some bullish move after this kind of doji, because if you look at the closely monthly, this is in fact an impulsive move to the upside on the monthly perspective. Looking at weekly, we see that this is the weekly impulse on NZDUSD followed by this correction. So when you see a big impulse followed by this triangular pattern, the price already has broken to the upside. Once we have seen a higher low has been created on the weekly, we can expect now to create another bullish move on the weekly perspective as well. It could be that we could see NZDUSD maintaining this weekly trend line, which when we will see that weakening in the DXY, we could see NZD USD coming back down, testing this level, and then we could see a bullish move. If you look at the daily perspective on NZDUSD, we see there is a double bottom has been created on this level. This is the support zone here on NZDUSD, and from this level we can expect now NZDUSD to continue to go up. So with that in mind, what we can expect on NZDUSD, the price to come back again a little bit to probably test this 20 EMA on the daily time frame, could be a very good area, and then at the intraday perspective, we see that NZDUSD already created a local bullish structure. If you readjust this trend line on the lower time frame, we can expect on NZDUSD to come back down to grab liquidity from this zone and then to create a bullish move. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, and NZDUSD will consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at dollar CAD. Starting with monthly again, we see that monthly perspective, dollar CAD after back-to-back 2 months long red candles, this month we have seen that dollar CAD has created a candle that is an inside bar. It is remaining in between the previous monthly high and previous monthly low. That means that this month also we could see dollar CAD remaining in between this support and resistance. As you can see, there is a long wick candle has been created on USDCAD. What I think that initially we might see a drop and then to rise. We could see initially rise and then drop based on how the price action is forming. Weekly perspective, we see that USDCAD, as you can see on the weekly, this is the impulse. Now it is the price is coming back down. If we analyze the back-to-back 2 weeks price action, we see there is a long bearish engulfer followed by a middleman. Now this one is still down. We could see either sideways movement or bearish movement on dollar CAD. What I think that we could see that USDCAD is coming back down to this doji where there is a high liquidity area. Now if we look at daily perspective, we see that USDCAD, though it was moving in a sideways quite a few days, but at the same time creating series of lower high. That means that the price action is still bearish on USD CAD. So with that in mind, what we can expect, if we look at the intraday perspective on the 4-hour time frame, we can expect on USD CAD to respect this trend line. If you closely look at it, you'll see that in fact USD CAD, whenever it is breaking this trend line, this resistance, grabbing liquidity and then coming back down, we see the same thing here. What we can expect in the new trading week to have another spike to the upside, testing this trend line, and from here to create a bearish price action. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone for dollar CAD to drop, we'll consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at euro dollar, looking at monthly perspective. Now euro dollar, as you have seen, if you look at my past quite a few weeks weekly forex forecast, euro dollar has done exactly as it is. When I was putting the analysis from here everywhere, the price did exactly as it is. It was expected for euro dollar to come to this monthly resistance level, and the price is almost there. This is the monthly close, as you can see, previous months, which is still bullish. What I think that initially we might see some drop or the retracement, and then we can expect the euro dollar to continue to rise, as it is a bullish market. As you can see, back-to-back 3 months long bullish, which is likely to continue to go up. If we look at the weekly perspective, we see that euro dollar also on the weekly perspective is highly bullish. What we see that starting from here, if you closely analyze, we see this is an impulse correction, impulse. Now we see it is in fact in an impulsive phase. We see this doji, in fact it is completing retracement on the lower time frame. Now the last week's candle, we see that this bullish candle is in fact also continuation pattern. Now what we can expect in the new trading, what I think that even we might see gap opening and then continuation to the upside, or after little retracement we can expect euro dollar to continue to go up, so which is highly bullish currently. If we look at the daily, on the daily perspective, we see that euro dollar has created a strong bullish price action. If we analyze from here, this is the impulse on the daily correction. There has been another impulse correction. Now every day the price was creating series of higher high and higher low. What do we see that from here? The price is creating series of higher high and higher low, and what we see back to back 2 days, these two candles are strongly bullish. From this local structure, there is an inverted head and shoulder. We can see that the price has completely broken to the upside. Now if you draw a resistance level on this inverted head and shoulder, this is the previous resistance here, which is turning support on euro dollar, and from here we can expect primarily push to the upside. If we look at the intraday perspective, we see there has been a significant impulse to the upside from this level. What we will be waiting for in the new trading week to have another impulse, another correction to the downside on the lower time frame. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on the retest of this previous resistance turning support, we'll consider going long on euro dollar with a high probability trade setup with our students. Let's look at dollar Swiss franc. Let's see what kind of price action we have on USD CHF. Now USD CHF, what we see that this is in fact back to back 2 months very strong bearish price action. What do you see that after this monthly giant bearish engulfer, this current month also we see a red candle which is almost full body. That means that volume in it. After this kind of bearish engulfer, a narrower bearish candle is a continuation pattern. We can expect now dollar Swiss franc to continue to drop as in this direction. So at the same time, where we can expect had a bounce on the higher time frame, this is the monthly trend line, as you can see, which is the support turning resistance on USD CHF. We can expect the price to go ahead and test this level and then to continue to drop. This is the monthly perspective. If we look at weekly time frame, we see that USD CHF in fact back to back quite a few weeks dodgy and then drastically drop. Now from here there is two probability as to directly to continue to drop or the price to grab liquidity just to break this. There is a weakness candle on the weekly, you can see, and there is a huge liquidity in this zone. If the price break this level, we could potentially find a very strong price action. As you can see, this is the monthly support, which is also weekly support here, which is turning resistance. Now let's look at daily perspective, how we can find trading opportunity. Now on the daily time frame, you can see that the price is creating series of lower high. There is a double top here and then the price has broken down. Now this is the last day's candle, which is in fact bearish. Now there are two probabilities, is for the price to go ahead and test this level, grab liquidity and then to drop. Another probability is respecting this daily high, the price to continue to drop. Initially we might see respecting this daily high and wave of drop. As you can see, the price already created a structure, double top has broken down, tested the neckline of this double top as a resistance. Now we can expect another drop, and maybe later after dropping coming back down, we could see a reversal to test this level. For the time being, we can expect for bearish setup. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along the zone dollar Swiss franc, we will consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at dollar yen. Let's see what kind of price action we have. Now looking at monthly perspective on dollar yen, which is strongly bearish. Now you can see back to back 2 months bearish candle. And dollar yen market, as you can see on the monthly, it was an overextended market. There was a very strong bullish move. As the prices started to drop, we might see now significant drop in this market. In this move, we can expect now at least to come to this monthly level of support. As you can see, this is a very strong level of support, and then even we could see a 20 MA retest, and then we could see a retreat back to form a doji. So with that in mind, if we look at the weekly time frame, the price did exactly as it is. Dollar yen price, you can see very clean, and what we see that first of all, there is a clean weekly impulse correction. So it is in another impulsive phase. That means that we might see further drop. Now this last week's candle, we see that exactly tested the support of this doji as a resistance and rejected, means that it has done its job. It created a retest. Now we can expect dollar yen to continue to drop. This is the support zone that we are expecting, or even below this level we can expect dollar yen to continue to drop. If we look at the daily perspective, we see that dollar yen from this daily support here on the weekly, after this reversal pattern, nice looking support turning resistance, we have seen a nice looking bearish price action. Now from this zone we could see after little retracement a drop. There is one probability. Another probability is to go up and test this level again and then to drop on the lower time frame. If we look at 4 hour, what we see that the price action with this last session's bearish engulfer followed by a doji, it's in fact a strong continuation pattern. So what we will be waiting in the new trading week for a deeper retracement probably to this level, and then to give us potential bearish price action. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone for this move, we'll consider going short on dollar yen with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at USDZAR monthly perspective. We see that USDZAR on the monthly time frame, which is highly bearish. Now what we see that monthly, there is a strong bearish engulfer followed by a monthly doji, giving us potential for further drop. As this market also rejected from this monthly resistance, we can expect this market to continue to drop. And what I think that USDZAR is to come back to this monthly level of support. If we look at weekly, we see that USDZAR is now typically bearish. First of all, there is a quite a few weeks series of lower high, very strong reversal pattern has broken down, and the price has gone up again to test this previous support zone, which is turning resistance, and tested, and again there has been another bounce. The previous week we see that a strong bearish engulfer, this red one, and then the last weeks we see that there is in fact a doji. Now a bearish engulfer followed by a doji, which is a continuation pattern. That means that after this kind of pattern we can expect USDZAR to continue to drop. What I think that after little retracement to the upside, probably creating a lower high with this, we can expect a drop, or we might see even a gap up opening and then continuing to drop. If we look at daily perspective on USDZAR, we see that in fact USDZAR on the daily perspective as well is showing nice looking bearish price action. We see that on the daily the price has created series of lower high with that neckline of this reversal pattern. This is the previous support zone turning resistance, and with that drop we see the price penetrated to the upside again, tested this support turning resistance, and that we have seen a rejection. So this is the daily candle. Last day's candle, we see that a narrow candle which also has a long wick at the top. What I think that in the new trading week we might see that the price is respecting this resistance and then coming back down. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on the lower time frame, we'll consider going short on USDZAR with a high probability trade setup with our students. Let's look at natural gas or XNGUSD. Now if we look at natural gas, what we see that first of all, looking at monthly natural gas on the monthly perspective, it is in fact a highly bearish market. There is a long strong bearish engulfer has been created. After this kind of candle we can expect that natural gas to drop further before creating any move to the upside. If we look at the weekly time frame, we see that natural gas on the weekly time frame is highly bearish. This is a long bearish candle. Now what we can expect, I think that natural gas on the weekly perspective may test this previous support zone turning resistance and then can continue to drop. Now looking at daily, we see that in fact on the daily time frame the price already has broken this daily level of support, and then with that breakout we saw that the price tested this the daily support as resistance with this narrow doji followed by bearish engulfer correction. Now it is in another impulsive phase. So at some point we could see that the price is testing this again, this swing low as a resistance, and this is the zone that can be traded if there is suitable entry opportunity along this zone. Now let's look at gold. Let's see what kind of price action as we have now. First of all, if we look at weekly chart on gold, you can see that the previous weekly forex forecast, this is what exactly expected on gold, that gold is likely to be bullish, and the price did exactly as it is. Now let's find out where we can find next trading opportunity on gold. First of all, we'll look at higher time frame to see a clear picture in the market. Now we see that gold from this monthly level of support created this bullish engulfer, followed by what we have seen that gold this current month also strongly bullish. Now this bullish candle on the monthly, which has closed, as you can see, full body green, almost little wick at the top, is signifying further possibility to rise as the bulls are still strong in this market. Now as there is an NFP coming, a new year, new trading week, the market extremely volatile now. So with that in mind, let's look at weekly perspective. Now weekly, as you can see, there is a very strong bullish price action. There is an impulse, correction, impulse, correction. Now it is in another impulsive phase, and you can see that every week the price is creating series of higher low. Including the last week, we have seen a bullish candle that has almost no wick at the bottom, and this weekly candle formed in a solid foundation. There are back-to-back quite a few weeks dodgy. The price has formed in that support zone without any wick at the bottom, giving us higher probability for gold. Even you could see another wickless candle or gap opening and then strong continuation to the upside. So monthly, weekly giving us potential bullish setup. If you look at the daily perspective, we see that gold has created typical bullish price action. You can see the price was respecting this 20 EMA on the daily perspective. Just touching this 20 EMA, we have seen that gold in fact has risen from here. Now this channel on the daily, we see that if we draw this level, we see the price is respecting this channel on the daily, and on the lower time frame we see that the price this is the resistance zone turning support, and it is in fact now heading to the resistance level on the daily time frame. Now what we can expect in the new trading week to find bullish setup, what I think that one level could be that this is the high of this daily, which is turning this resistance, turning support here on the lower time frame, and we can find suitable entry opportunity along this zone. Now we see that intraday or 4-hour time frame, gold has created nice looking double top, double bottom here, has broken out, and with that breakout we see every time, first of all there is a reversal here, has broken out now, and again we saw there is another reversal here, and also every time the price was creating, testing this previous resistance as support, and the price creating strong bullish pattern. Now this is the last session's candle, which is in fact creating long wick at the bottom and also series of higher low, so that basically it's a strongly bullish market. So what we will be expecting in the new trading week to give us any kind of bullish setup along this zone, a gap opening or any kind of long setup. As soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone, we'll consider going long on gold to take this move to the upside with a high probability trade setup with our students. If you want to trade gold, euro dollar, British pound, US dollar, and all the pairs that you are trading in our Forex Trading Wizard Academy, you can find a link in the description area. You can join us. There is discount going on to trade with us and also learn our strategies. Let's look at US oil now. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity currently we have. Now looking at monthly perspective, to see the bigger picture, we see that US oil on the monthly time frame has created a long doji. Now this doji is quite significant. What we could see on US oil, what I think that the price this month might break this monthly high, creating an overextended market, and from that zone we could see another wave of drop. So initially we could see a bullish move on US oil. With that in mind, let's look at weekly time frame. Now weekly time frame, we see that US oil also showing some bullish pattern. What we have seen that after this drop, instead of creating series of lower high and lower low, we see US oil started to push to the upside. Now this weekly price action back to back 3 weeks is significantly bullish, including the last one that we have seen, a narrow doji or pin bar that has a gap opening, giving potential support zone for this move. Now if you draw this weekly level, what do we see that back to back quite a few weeks opening and closing, and with a gap opening the price is just above this level. That means that we might see initially a stronger move on US oil, and this is the monthly resistance. What I think that the price will break all of this level in this zone, we might see a reversal pattern and then move to the downside. So if we look at the daily perspective on US oil, we see typical bullish price action, impulse correction. Now it is in another impulsive phase. Last day of trading week, a full green body giving us potential bullish setup. So what I think that in the new trading week, at some point we even could see the retest of this level where there is a high liquidity with this doji on the daily, and this is the zone highly likely that US oil will come back down, will test this level, or even from here we could see a bullish move. So if we look at intraday perspective on US oil, we see that there has been a reversal pattern here, and we can make a level. This is the previous resistance zone on this reversal pattern, also previous resistance zone here, and from this level we can expect the price to go ahead and test this level and then to continue to rise. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone for this bullish move on US oil, we'll consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at Aussie yen. Looking at monthly perspective on Aussie yen, we see that Aussie yen on the monthly time frame has closed with a long bearish engulfer, which is in fact significantly bearish. Now after this kind of candle, what we can expect Aussie yen to continue to drop. Now this is the monthly candle. There are 4 weeks remaining in this monthly. What I think that in this week, the price initially we might see a retreat back to retrace to this level and then to continue to drop. Now if we look at weekly, we see that there has been a long wick here. It's a very significant candle, as this candle tested this previous support, which is turning resistance and strongly rejected. What I think that in the new trading week, either we could see Aussie yen to drop from here, probably will test this support, create a higher low, and then will go up, or we could see initially a rise to this level and then to drop. So based on how it is doing, if we look at daily perspective, we see that Aussie yen is in fact highly bearish. Now the bias is strongly bearish. We see that there is in fact a long days consolidation, a big pattern here, which is a sign of change of trend. When you see a long-term uptrend consolidate and decelerate like this, creating a big head and shoulder, is a sign of long-term trend change, means that Aussie yen is long-term bearish. Now to go short, what we could see highly likely that Aussie yen, I think that will go up again in this zone. As if you closely look at, there's a daily weekless candle and there's a long week on the daily, and this zone is a very high liquidity area. If we see that on the lower time frame, there are 2 probabilities. As we see that one, we could see initially to drop from here and then continue to drop. Another probability is Aussie yen to go ahead and test this level. So based on how the price action is forming, if we see that this local structure on the 4 hour, as you can see, there is already a head and shoulder has been created. The price is below this level. So if we see that the price has given a suitable entry opportunity along this zone for this possible bearish move, we'll consider going short from here with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at USDSGD. Looking at monthly perspective on USDSGD, we see that on the monthly time frame, this is also highly bearish. Now back to back 3 months long bearish engulfer. The last month also this candle is highly bearish. What we can expect for this kind of monthly candle, the price to continue to drop, after dropping to go up and probably forming a doji. Now looking at weekly, we see that USDSGD is typically bearish. From here, big impulse correction. Now it is in another impulsive phase. Now if we look at closely, we see that this is the support zone, which is turning resistance on USDSGD. And we see that the price now is likely to drop. Back to back 2 weeks drop, we can expect this price to continue to drop. Now if we look at the daily perspective, we see that USDSGD every day creating series of lower high and lower low, and we see that there is a daily bearish engulfer followed by a daily middleman. Now with that daily bearish engulfer and middleman, what we can expect on USDSGD, the price to test this support here, which is turning resistance, and then to continue to drop. Now if we look at intraday perspective, we can see there is a trend line here, and from that trend line, what we can expect on USDSGD, the price to go ahead and test this level, which is the previous support zone, turning resistance, and from here the price to continue to drop. So as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone for possible bearish setup, we'll consider going short on USDSGD with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at USDCNH. Looking at monthly time frame, we see that USDCNH on the monthly also highly bearish. After the previous monthly bearish engulfer, this month we have seen also significantly bearish. It's a full body red candle, which is highly likely that the next one also will continue to drop as this market overextended to the upside. Now we might see that this market even coming back to this previous support zone here, which is a long-term historical support. There's a high probability for bigger drop. If we look at weekly perspective, we see that USDCNH has changed its uptrend to the downtrend. We see there's an impulse correction, small correction. Now this week we have seen a wickless candle, a very long bearish engulfer. Now in the new trading week, we might see any of this level being tested as a resistance, and then we could see a strong drop on USDCNH. Now looking at the daily, this is the last days of candle, we see that the price created a consolidation pattern here, and then the price has broken down with this daily bearish engulfer. If we look at intraday perspective, what we can expect now, this price to continue to go up to test this level, which is the previous support here, which is turning resistance here, and from here we can expect price to continue to drop. So as soon as we find suitable entry opportunity along this zone on USDCNH, we'll consider going short with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at US30. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this indices. Now this is the monthly price action in US30. We can see that the price, after this big monthly impulse, it has come for a significant retracement. If we take our Fibonacci, we see that US30 from starting of this move to the end of the move, the price exactly came to this 38.2% Fibonacci level, and then we have seen primarily rejection. So the price created a minimum Fibonacci level correction, impulse correction. Now it is in another impulsive phase. Now this monthly price action is still significantly bullish, though it is a red candle, but it's still creating series of higher high and higher low on the monthly perspective, giving us a potential bullish setup from this monthly level of support. If we look at weekly time frame, we see that US30 on the weekly time frame created a price action that is neither bullish nor bearish, but at the same time it could be in a sideways, as this red candle we see that on the weekly created a lower high and higher low. What we could see in the new trading week, what I think that US30 maintaining this resistance, we might see that testing this resistance, coming back down, and then from this support we could see a bounce. If we look at daily, we see nice looking price action, which is predictable highly. What we could see that on the daily, as you can see, every day creating series of lower high. The last day of trading week, there is a narrow doji here. Now this narrow doji in fact is now on the lower time frame is bearish. What we could see in the new trading week, what I think that from this zone we could see a drop to this level, testing this support, and then to rise to the upside. If we look at intraday perspective on US30, what we see that this is where the price action is. Now what we will be waiting for in the new trading week, for me, as soon as I will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone for this move to the downside for short term bearish trade, we will consider going short. And once we will see that US30 is testing this level, which is highly likely to happen, as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity along this zone US30 for bullish move, we will consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. Let's look at NASDAQ. Let's see what kind of price action we have in NAS 100. Now first of all, looking at monthly perspective on NASDAQ, what do we see that on the monthly time frame NASDAQ, this is the last monthly candle closed with this red bearish candle. What is likely to happen? Let's find out a bit lower time frame to see in fact which way the market is heading. If we look at weekly, we see that NASDAQ in fact after back-to-back 4 weeks drop, we see that the buyers little bit of in control, sellers getting decelerated. You can see this market is a little bit of getting tired. At the same time, we see that there is a weekly candle on the weekly time frame, back to back 2 weeks bullish zone from this support. We have seen that Nasdaq on the weekly time frame is creating long wick candle. What I think that this week Nasdaq might do, it might create another long wick candle or another bullish move, as we have seen an impulse. As the price is approaching this weekly support, we might see highly likely the price will go up and test this zone, as when it needs to break this kind of support, it needs a strong liquidity. And with that being said, we might see this week Nasdaq is going up. If we look at daily, we see that like the US30, it also has created a doji on the daily perspective. What I think that in the new trading week, we might see primarily drop to this daily level, and from here we might see that Nasdaq is going up from this daily level of support, completing an inverted head and shoulder. If we look at intraday perspective, we see that already an inverted head and shoulder has been created, and the price is slowly creating from this local uptrend to the local downtrend to the local uptrend. Now, as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity on Nasdaq along this zone, we'll consider going long with a high probability trade setup with our students. So this is the zone that we will be waiting for a suitable entry opportunity for this move to the upside. Now let's find out cryptocurrencies, looking at first of all BTC. Now looking at monthly, we see that BTCUSD on the monthly time frame, it is in fact bearish. This is what I exactly expected in my previous weekly forex forecast. You have seen that the price exactly did as it is, tested this monthly support, which is turning resistance, and then created this narrow monthly doji. Now this monthly candle close, what we can expect in the new month, price to go ahead and test this level and then to continue to drop, or even we could see a drop from here based on how lower time frame price action is showing. If we look at weekly, we see that BTCUSD, there is a long wick candle has been created, bearish angle, but this candle is quite significant. Followed by, we see there is a narrow doji this week. Now again the price is coming back down. What I think that in the new trading week, we might see a little bit of push to the upside. Highly likely that the price will have another retest of this previous support turning resistance, and we could see a lower high, and then we might see that BTCUSD is finally coming back down. Now if you look at daily perspective, we see BTCUSD did exactly as expected. As you have seen in my weekly forex forecast, this is what expected, completing a head and shoulder and then to come back down. So it has dropped significantly. Now what we could see, what I think that we might see another spike to the upside to fill this gap, and it could happen highly likely that the price slowly will create a lower high with that, and probably will create a downward channel along this zone, and then the price might continue to drop in that direction. So with that in mind, what we will be expecting on BTCUSD for a high probability trade setup, as soon as we'll see that BTCUSD is going up to this level from this zone, if we see suitable entry opportunity, we'll consider going short on BTCUSD from this level with a high probability trade setup with our students. Now let's look at Ethereum USD. Now looking at again monthly perspective on Ethereum, we see that on the monthly perspective, Ethereum USD is highly bearish. There is a strong bearish engulfer on the monthly, followed by this narrow doji, which is highly continuation pattern, and we could see Ethereum USD is coming back down this month also. Looking at weekly, we see that the price was respecting this weekly trend line, this previous resistance, which is respecting, and the price is likely to continue to drop along this zone. What I think that, as you can see, like the BTCUSD, there is a bearish engulfer on the weekly. We could see the price is going up again, testing this zone, and from here we can expect Ethereum USD is coming back down. Now if you look at daily perspective on Ethereum USD, what we could see if we readjust this level, what I think that, as you can see, this is the previous neckline support zone on this reversal pattern. on Ethereum USD, which is turning resistance here, and I think that we could see another retest of this level, and from here we could see that Ethereum USD is coming back down. So this is the zone that can be traded from this level. As soon as there is a suitable entry opportunity, it can be traded to the downside with a high probability trade setup. Now these are the currencies, cryptocurrencies and indices that we'll be looking to trade next week, guys and girls. If you find value in this analysis, don't forget to subscribe and also like this analysis. And at the same time, if you want to learn our strategies and also trade with us in Forex Trading Wizard Academy, you can find a link in the description area. There's a discount going on. You can visit us and also join us to learn our strategies. With that said, guys, thank you very much. I'll see you soon in my another video.